Welcome to Brave with Lisa YouTube channel. My name is Lisa Bruton and my goal is to inspire you to live bravely in that unique rhythm of grace that God has designed just for you. On this channel, we are going to be hearing from amazing people from all different walks of life who are bravely walking in that unique rhythm of grace and calling that God has designed just for them. I know that as we hear their stories, we are going to learn a lot. We're going to find keys that are going to help us to also walk bravely in that unique rhythm of grace and that unique calling that God has just for you and for me. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to Brave with Lisa. My name is Lisa Bruton, and today I am so excited to introduce to you my new friend, Berni Morris-Smith. We've been friends since a retreat last year, and honestly, she kind of got named Wild Berni while on the retreat, and she's got some stories to share. She's been through a lot, and yet she's walking in joy, and she's got some big things on her life. So I'm looking forward to just hearing more from you today, Berni. So welcome.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to see you again, actually, after my wild time with Lisa. It'll be, I'll tell you more about it in a minute, but yes, it's great.
So Berni, can you share what's going on in your world right now? I know you're a mum.
Yep. Okay. Where am I at right now today, in May 2022? I'm a mum, a very proud mum of a nearly 20-year-old and an 18-year-old. I've got two adult boys who are absolutely incredible, and I'm working on some exciting projects in the healthcare area, but also more than that, I'm involved in an amazing charity called Walk a While, and that takes me out to a community, an indigenous community west of Alice Springs, to a most amazing place where this beautiful community are raising a cross on a mountain. It's been their dream for over 80 years, but generationally they've had a vision to actually raise this cross on this mountain. They feel it's a place where they want to bring people to this mountain to just to hear the hope that they have, the message that they have. And I've been out there now for the last 3 years. I've been out there this is my fourth visit. And every time I come back completely like changed, strengthened. And obviously there's a reason for that too. Yeah.
So you were saying over the last 3 years you've been out there. I know that the last 3 to 4 years have been massive for you, and I've got permission from you to share this. So can you share your story?
Yeah, I can. Moved out here. Obviously, I'm originally English, as you can probably still tell. That accent doesn't disappear. I moved out here in 1999 with my husband, Tim, and we came and moved into Sydney. We had a real calling just to come over from England to Australia for whatever purposes we just didn't know. We got quite involved in Sydney. We felt called to come out here to Sunshine Coast, where I'm actually now currently living, 8 years ago. And my husband, Tim, I will talk about him. He's the most amazing guy. And he was CFO of Mission Australia, had a real passion for young adults. We both did. We obviously, when you're married, you minister together. And we had this overwhelming passion to make a difference in people's lives, wherever we felt called to do. And Tim got involved with a project with Ken Duncan. Beautiful picture behind me is actually one of Ken's amazing pictures called Beauty Revealed. And Tim actually went out to a mountain west of Alice Springs, to a place called Memory Mountain, which is actually, he was the CFO of Mission Australia. Mission Australia then actually wanted to give back to our Indigenous First Nation people, something obviously because we know the history of where it hasn't always been good. And it was a time to actually show that the missions actually wanted to, it was a time of saying sorry to everything. So there was a great movement to actually go and see what could they do as a non-for-profit charity, where could they actually also bless and give back to places. And Walk a While was a charity, a foundation set up, the founding members of Ken and Pam Duncan then to look at building social enterprises, creativity and investment in a community that wanted to have their own work, their own businesses, so they didn't feel dependent anymore on a government projects or handouts. They wanted to enhance everyone's knowledge about their life, their song, their creativity, their art, their language, everything about who they were. They wanted to impart that onto others, and in that embrace a future for their children. So Tim went out there with a group for Mission Australia, and when he climbed up this mountain, I'm actually going to read this passage actually, which is really pertinent to everything that I'm going to start saying, because Tim actually felt when he went up the mountain with Ken, it was Isaiah 61, verse 1-3. And I'll read it to you. It says, it's called the year of the Lord's favor. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach good news to the poor. He sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn and to provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. And they will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor. And when Tim was up the mountain, he fell on his knees. Ken looked down at him and said, that is the passage that's been said over this mountain for years. This is my man for the project to help me get this started. So Tim became a director of this charity to help Walk a While to get this started, the whole initiation of getting the company of Memory Mountain started, which was really hard for Indigenous people to own their own businesses, to have an ABO number, to have their own concept of be on their own board and actually have something for themselves that they could feel very proud of, to invest in a future for their children and their children's children. Tim made that happen. And without that, there would never have been what we have today of Memory Mountain. Now, what happened next was quite challenging to all of us. And within a couple of years of working on this project, Tim got very sick very quickly. And we lost him through cancer in February 2019. We lost him. And it was actually almost 20 years to us landing that he actually went back to heaven. And it broke our hearts and it broke everyone else's hearts. And my two boys were 14 and 16 at the time. And it just seemed I was robbed. It seemed totally irrational to everything that we were doing so much good. We were helping so many people. We were giving out. It was never about us. It was always about others. And yet I felt, I lost my best friend. I lost my soulmate. I lost my lover. I lost my partner. I lost the father of my children so quickly and cruelly with cancer within 3 months. And I work actually in medical research. I work in cancer research, new trials, clinical trials. So I knew everything that we could possibly do. And my boys looked at me and said, Mom, what can we do to help Dad? And I said, I'll do my best. It was all too much, too soon, too late. And nothing I could have done. It was out of my hands. So I fell rock bottom. We will say about before Psalm 23 is, walk through the valley of death. Yeah, I realized I had to step up and look after myself and be well. And that's, a focus that I actually have done is, he promised me, he said, you make a deal and you have to decide, look, one of you's going. Well, he said, it's better that you stay because you're stronger than I am. And I know you'll do a better job. But that I didn't feel that was fair. I just felt really angry and all the emotions of really, what had God done, why, and I did. COVID hit right next month. After that, COVID came along, and I basically, I to be honest with you, I ran, I hid, I just tried to fight the grief was just trying to be, I don't know, I lost a lot of friends along the way, because when you've got friends and partners and you was, couples, and that was not through their fault, but it was just the fact suddenly my whole social network disappeared too. Just naturally it does. It's like the honeymoon period of a funeral. There is a period where
Yeah.
people are just amazing. They are just amazing, but they have their own lives. And so I sort of like found my own little niche and found my little ways, and I started sort of doing adventures and going camping and having some fun along the way. But it was just really, really hard to really feel why. I didn't understand the why, and I found it really hard to work. I found it hard to cope. I found it hard to pray. Yeah, I knew I had to. It's almost like one of those things where you just had to hang in there, and you knew God had you, but you didn't feel it. There was like this coldness of the valley of death. And I had this picture one time that I remember drawing it. I'm a bit of a visual, and it was this dark, dark, dark valley, and I could see this like northern lights right at the very top of it, this little snippet of green. And that's all I could hang on to. I knew I would get through this, and I was walking through this, and it was sometimes so tight. The chasm was so hard, Lisa. I can't describe the pain. I mean, there is pain. It's physical pain as well. Your whole body's inflamed, and you struggle. And I literally got myself doing exercise again. I got myself into a good program of stuff. I made myself, I said, I've got to invest in me. And if I don't invest in me, I'm not going to be alive for these guys. I have to live. I actually had to choose life.
Yeah.
And it started reminding me of, and then scripture comes back to you again and goes, yeah, Jesus came to actually, have life and life to the full. And I'm going, yeah, I'm not living it very full at the moment, but I know he wants me to live. So I started having fun and adventers and camping and just having some campfires and being under the stars and just being inspired by creation again. And then I went on this amazing road trip. I just took myself, this COVID had started at this time. I went on this amazing road trip with a girl mate. It was just, honestly, I think Anastasia said, the state's open, you can go. I was like, yay, let's go. We drove west and we went with the wind. And the things I saw, like just one moment we camped under an eagle's nest, right? Now that's it's not common to find an eagle nesting with a baby in the nest. And actually it was really showing me, God is like Mother Eagle, as in apparently when you go through tough times and when you're young or you're growing again, kicks you out the nest, Mother Eagle swoops around and catches you and puts you back in the nest. And it was just this whole showing me that I was back in the nest and growing as a new Berni. The new me was being formed, if you like, or being birthed. But he had me. And I was like, wow, you're never letting me go. You're never letting me go. It's like I'm trying to flap my wings again. And I'm stumbling all the time. And believe me, I stumbled and stumbled and stumbled. And but I knew his promises were true, and I knew that I'd be okay. But it was just going through this pain of this grief. And so sort of end of last year, still, I guess it's hit rock bottom when people get busy. And some of your friends who you had around you closely suddenly got, they've got their own lives and they just move on. And it, just heard again another level of grief when mates and people that you, I guess, probably invested in people and you lent on them too much. I learned that the hard way too, that they're human. They can't carry you.
Yeah.
You need friends in your life, but you need to balance. And one of the things I just really was like, people suddenly weren't there. And it was like a whole nother level of grief, because what I was looking at was me and that valley again in the riverbed with the big rocks and the big pebbles. And boy, had I bruised my knees and had grazed my knees and I banged my elbows and I was covered in cuts. And I just Lord, I just can't pick myself up. I stopped work for a while completely. And I just fell on him. I said, I can't do this anymore. I absolutely need you 100%. Absolutely, in every single area of my life. I just need you. And then what happened around me was somebody whispered in my ear and said, would you like to go on a retreat? And I went, yes, please. And I said, I can't go. I'd like you to go instead. And I'm like, where? You're kidding. It was the most exclusive, beautiful place. I felt I was being like taken to heaven. Long Island was an incredible experience, but actually the journey to get there, Lisa, was just me begging God to show me that he could look after me and he would restore me and rebuild me. I was still very mixed up, very angry, very sad, very broken. I felt I lost friends. I didn't feel, I thought I was too much for everyone. I felt all these, all these negative things. So arriving at this retreat, I sort of spotted a kayak. And I think before you'd even got us all off the boat, I was in the kayak and paddling out to the horizon. And you're like, is that one of our attendees? She's obviously out and gone out to her. She's off, probably paddling back to main shore. But no, what I actually went out there, and then probably the other side of it you never heard, was I said, okay, you've got me. You've got me here. There's nobody else here. I don't know anyone here. And there's all these other strangers, but it's you and me. And please speak to me and tell me what you want to do with my life, because I can't get any lower than I am right now. I am broken, not just broken through loss of my husband. I've lost friends, and I feel I'm too much for everyone. And I'm, I just don't feel anyone wants to hang around me anymore, because I'm a widow, I'm negative, I'm just not worthy or not good enough, all this stuff, all this rubbish. Okay. So I get out there and I just get it out, at least. So I paddled so fervently, I think, as she said, like, it's like an Olympic paddler out there. She's like going backwards and forwards on this amazing blue water and then the turtles came up and the fish jumped, and then suddenly I just put my hands on the water and I just felt the still calm. Now, for me, Psalm 23 is absolutely when he brings me to still waters, and there he refreshes my soul. And for me, that whole retreat was the beginning of my soul being restored, and for him to love on me and tell me how much I am loved and valued, and in fact that I was more than enough, and I was absolutely, yeah, he just loves me incredibly so, and I exude his love to people, never to change that. And it was almost like I'm a love bubble for God, as in I would just love people, but it was okay, just he would actually guide me and help me in that. So what happened next morning, I went off at 4:15 to see sunrise, and I was having the best moments of that, took these pictures, everything was incredible, came back and everyone was like, oh, where have you been? I went, oh, out there. And they're going, oh, can I come tomorrow? So I had 2 ladies that came with me on that, as you know, the next day. And I think by the end of the week, we were all out there. And I thought, this is amazing, Lord. I'm like, sorry for my enthusiasm of being out and having fun in creation, but I love it. And it was the beginning of really showing me that I can do things, Lisa. I can actually step up and do things I love. And bring people with me to build their self-worth, to take them out of their comfort zone, to take them beyond their pain levels to thresholds. If they can't swim, they can still go on an ocean, which I didn't mention the sharks underneath the water. They did mention please don't go swimming, Bernie. They said, just stay in the boat. I know why, but I won't mention it to anyone else. Anyway, but so I started living life and life to the full. That week was an incredibly healing week, an inspiring week, which I was so blessed. I was gifted it. I'm so grateful and thankful. It was a beginning of a big change. And I actually felt that 2022 was going to be a life for me to actually say, okay, Lord, take me out my comfort zones, take me on a place in the journey that will actually, show me more of what you can do in me. So one of the things I wanted to do was cattle mustering, because I'd met someone on the retreat who was cattle mustering, and I went, I want to do that. I can't ride a horse. I have no idea what to do with cattle, even though I have some here on my property here that eat my grass. So I thought, I want to do that. I'm going to be a cowgirl for a week. So, and another friend of mine, who actually, since that retreat, I actually was a dear friend of mine. I said to her, look, I've really missed you. I actually, I'm sorry I was a bit much last year and all this. And she goes, no, you weren't. I was just really busy. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. Can I come with you? And, yeah. So we went cattle mustering together, and I learned to ride a horse, learned to do the cattle mustering, and I just found joy. Personally, for me, it was the biggest moment of absolute revelation of, put me on a horse. I was riding these hills and mountains out in west of Gympie here in the hinterlands, and it was just, this is incredible. It was my personal sort of euphoric moment of actually saying, Lord, you can do all things. I can do all things in you. I can trust you. I can take people on adventures. This is my own adventure here, but I want to do more. And so I actually, I just really absolutely embraced it, and it restored an incredible friendship of campfires. We're talking under the stars, and I thought, I love doing that. I've got to do more of that. It's like,
That is amazing.
this is exactly what I want to do with more people. And it was just it's one of the best moments. A bit like my road trip I had like the following year and 2 years ago, and it was like, this was again, it was up there. I'm going, I've got to do more of this. Anyway, I went actually out to I actually then, as this links into going back out to the mountain, out to Haas Bluff. And the reason that passage is so pertinent to me is I actually went out this time and I read that passage from Isaiah up the top of Memory Mountain. And what God has restored in me, he's giving me, like, as you say, beauty from the ashes. It's actually the oil of gladness instead of mourning. And it's actually, that whole thing has shown me, if I knew that Tim had actually read that out, if he knew he was actually going to pass away, and that 3 years later I'd be reading the same passage on there saying, but instead of the grieving, instead of the mourning, Tim, I found so much joy and so much peace in knowing who I am. I knew who I can be now. My heart, Lisa, is for women to find their self-worth. I've been through so much pain, and I can't tell, it's mental pain as well as like losing all belief or confidence in my work and my inability to even make a difference anywhere, even to be mum at home or being able to cook or just be do normal things. When grief strikes, it really strikes. It actually freezes you. I've been stuck in a car, literally at a car park, and I can't move. I've had to ring a friend to say, can I come around for a cup of tea right now? I'm 5 minutes from your house. I can't do a thing. Grief strikes and it freezes you, it fogs you, it robs you of just normal day functionality. There are doona days. We have doona days and they're okay. There are days when the tears need to come out and they need to leak. They need to come out. You need to let them flow, because I said to the boys, they worry when they see you crying. I know it's love coming out and I don't know where it can go. So that it needs to flow somewhere. So allow it to cry, allow the pain to come out of it. Up the mountain, we're building this cross, right? It's going to be 22 meters high. The project's been going for 12 years and the funds have been raised to build the cross now, but it's now about fundraising to build the next stage, which is about the tourism and bringing people there. I want to be a tour guide. I want to bring women to the mountain, stand at the foot of the cross. I've stood there and I've let everything go at the foot of the cross, right? Anything and anything I was worried about, anything and anything I missed, and in my anger, all my mixed emotions about life, the universe, everything at the foot of the cross. And I'm like, well, okay, so what's this trip about then, Lord? What am I meant to do? What are you going to tell me? Like, what's my next plan? He goes, this is like on the 13th day of the 14 days out there. I just want you to love me. Oh, okay, right. Just want you to love on me, right? Everything else will fall into place. I'm like, okay. So I trust him. There's actually a number of signs, and I'm a signs and wonders girl. And when I'm out there, I see eagles and clouds. Eagles are quite important to me. And sure enough, I took a lady from a church in Sydney, and she came out there. She goes, Berni, there's a massive eagle in the clouds. I went, oh yeah, it's okay. That's quite normal. It's anyway, we're up the mountain, and yeah, sure enough, there's like 2 drones of eagles just standing there staring at you at this height. Wow. Like, that's okay. Yeah, they're here. That's protection. That's all good. I went up, my boys came out, my 2 sons came out, and we climbed up the mountain together, the 3 of us, which is the first time the 3 of us have been up. And it wasn't easy. In fact, it was quite challenging, quite spiritually challenging for us. And then the eagle came and checked on us, and at my eye level, and just, it's okay, I've got you. It's okay. You're doing okay. You're on the right path. And yeah, look, there was one amazing little story which I just briefly cut. It was just actually, it was one of the ladies from the retreat actually said to me, Berni, this is on the Wednesday. She's like, your heavenly fathers need you to read the signs. I went, yeah, okay. She said, your earthly father was a sign writer. I said, yeah, that's right. She goes, no, but both I feel your heavenly fathers are asking you to read the signs. I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, what's been happening out there is that we've had a number of sort of car accidents and stuff. With Daniel's been working as an intern out there, following in his dad's footsteps, been helping them out. And he had one car crash with a cow. The car got written off. He was fine. Nothing happened to him. And the second time I was out there on Good Friday, I'm in a gorge somewhere, in a remote whatever, trying to do my own adventures with Berni, and planning my with the girls, because I want to take people out there. So I'm in the middle of a gorge, my knees in sand, and I'm trying to get to this sort of, area, and phone rings on satellite phone. Oh, Mum, I've had another accident. What do you mean another one? He goes, yeah, someone's just driven into me. We're okay, but we can't get out the car door. I went, okay, I'll be about 5 hours. I've got to get back to base camp and then drive back to get my bags, and I'll be back in Alice Springs and by 2 o'clock this afternoon. Is that okay? That's the earliest get to you. I'm that remote. Yeah, okay, Mum. Anyway, so I'm driving back to get my bags, and on a sign there's actually someone's initials, and I'm like, oh, there's 3 initials on there. Like, oh my God, that's my friend. I'm like, okay, Lord, wherever she is, touch her, bless her, whatever's going on. Thanks for that. And I remember the message from 2 days ago, just read the signs, read the road sign. Anyway, I hadn't spoken to this friend for a year and a half, and just was thinking about it. Okay, thank you. Anyway, the funny thing is, on Easter Sunday night, or Easter Monday, I think it was, I got a message from her. I hadn't heard from her for ages, and it was just lovely. Wanted to reconnect, and was just beautiful. And actually, we reconnected about a couple of weeks ago. Just had a campfire and under the stars and yarning, and basically it was awesome. It was just a reunion, a reconciliation, and the restoration of the friendship. And I was like, that's impossible. That was impossible. It's like, no. Anyway, so read the signs, just listen, be obedient. And so that's, and it's been a few other things that have happened since I've been back. My passion and real desire to see First Nation women particularly valued. And what's exciting about this group of people is that the Kunji artists are amazing. They've actually been in Vogue magazine last month. They were last night at the Sydney fashion show. Jess Malboy was wearing a designer dress by the Kunji artists. Wow. And I know this is just ridiculous what's going on with our beautiful Indigenous women around the First Nation people. We need to really value them, and we've got so much to learn from them about their life, their whole matriarchal system of care and love in the community. And I want to weave that together with self-worth of women, single, married, widowed, divorced, young, old. I just have a heart to allow women to find who they are again. We mums, we're number whatever, there's the dad and the kids and then us. So how often we obviously need to sometimes be in those roles, because I feel we're the best people for it, but we sacrifice so much of our identity, and then suddenly we're empty nesters, and like, where are we going now? And I actually feel that, I want to take them on adventures. I want to give them permission to find themselves in that relationship as being mum and wife and partner or whatever, whether it's to say they're on their own too, to find their value, their purpose. Because I just got this amazing sense of adventure again when I was driving back, even though my son's had a second car accident, and I'm driving on this corrugated road, and I'm like, this is it. This is why I need to take people on a journey. And Lisa, it was inspired by that retreat that I took myself on that journey, paddling madly out to that ocean, across sharks and turtles and fish and into the unknown, beyond these shores. There's a beautiful song I know from years ago. It's played at my wedding called Beyond These Shores. And I took myself beyond these shores to find my peace. And I took myself beyond my comfort zone in cattle mustering to find my joy. Yeah. And I've come back from the mountain. This is probably the 10th time I've climbed this mountain where this cross is going up. And it's something special about that place that is unique. It's about their spirituality of embracing all, connecting us. Literally, the children have had visions of heaven and earth connections on this mountain to the heavens with ladders, and they've had seen angels. It's about all faiths, all people coming. They just want you to sense and feel what life is really about, and to actually get an essence of that. Spend a time with them, cook with them, be with them, hear their stories, their dream time. They talk about the creation, and they see God in it all. in their Dreamtime stories. And this is where people don't always understand. They think there's, you know, a different side to creation with the indigenous people to God and what's in the Bible, but that's just one versions, but they see it all. And when they were describing it to me, I was just like, my eyes were revealed with amazing beauty of what they understand so simply about life and how to live it and how to care and love for people. So my heart's for that. My heart's for passions for embracing women's self-worth. And I've just met these most amazing people here on the coast that since like November last year, about 30 to 40 people, I swear, I've just reconnected with after 20 years. I've met new friends and new people that are just inspiring, that just have been through horrendous journeys, horrendous stories. Yet we all know that there's hope. And I guess that's probably what I want to sort of share with you, Lisa, is I want to take people on adventures to find their hope, whatever that is. And however I do that, I don't know. It's just going to be exciting. But yeah, and my passage that inspires me, it just came to my mind there, was Romans 8. And it's basically that nothing can separate us from the love of God. Neither death nor life, no angels or demons can. It's like nothing, not one thing can separate you from God's love. And I felt I was at the time. I felt so, I think basically my if I wrote a book, I guess I might call it Raw, Naked and Real. I was just grazed and bruised and bashed and stripped of everything that I felt that I'd loved was taken from me. Yet I feel restored. This is only very recently. This is literally in the last weeks. I feel so restored and refreshed that it's starting, and it's a constant thing. The restoration is not like, oh, I'm restored now. It's like it's a journey too. It's not a race. It's a journey of just trusting that God has you. And certainly I've seen in people that who may or may not know him, I see him working in them and just caring for them. And like, you see a lot of judgment and harshness going on at the moment with COVID and with all the difficulties and challenges that we've all got. I just know the only thing that works is love. People, just be kind. And it's not just being nice. It's actually what loving is just love them as they are. I love them and ask God to show you how he sees them.
Yeah.
Because people are valued. People, the most beautiful things we have in this world are each other. And when we lose that person, believe me, material things, you really take it all away. I just value time, even if it's quality time with somebody, a little bit of snippet of time with someone. It's like having a taste of heaven with someone. It's not to waste it.
Yeah.
And enjoy the now. Don't worry about tomorrow. I've really learned that, because like I had a 3-month period of time when I was chasing time, and I didn't probably use it wisely. I was panicking. I was trying to I was project managing. I was trying to do this, but I had to. But it was like when I did stop for that day and realized that actually that one of the days was the last day I had with Tim. You just want to you don't want to live every day like that, but there are times and moments when we've got our kids and we've got busyness with work, and suddenly they go, mom, and you go, drop it, do it, just drop it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Be present.
Don't waste that moment. Be present. And it means getting rid of these things sometimes.
You're right.
Really knows a way. And I've got friends who will tell you, like, Bern, like, where's your phone? I went, in my handbag, or it's in the car. I'm here. I'm
with you.
I'm very present in being with people, because I truly, truly value them and treasure them. And I want to see others find who they are. I'm only just discovering it. It's it's through that pain, that valley. It's something we all go through. We will all go through this time, and it's not something we can avoid. And I pray it's a long time away for a lot of people, but we all go through some very challenging times. And I've actually really recognized and empathized with a lot of people going through separation and divorce, a lot of single moms, single parents. Being a single parent now, it's a whole new world of respect.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually for those who've never had kids or aren't married or whatever. I just have this immense respect for who every single person is.
Yeah.
And I'm learning. I've got a lot to listen to, and I'm learning. I'm on a, yeah, I'm listening.
Wow.
Ugh.
Bernie,
What,
what an amazing, like, seriously, in 3 to 4 years, you've gone from what I hear is like you had a dream with Tim.
yeah.
Yeah. And then that was gone. And there was grief and walking that out and trying to find your feet again. But what I hear is you are always honest and were aware of who God was and is, even though you didn't always feel it. But then what I'm hearing now is that there's this new dreaming with God and how that's so precious. And from kind of going, okay, well, what do I enjoy? I enjoy being wild and out in nature. And like, so it's incredible. You've just given us some keys just in that, doing the things that delight your heart, even if you don't feel like it, right? Especially in those dark times, there is permission to still have fun, even though you're grieving. And that's an incredible key you've just given us. And then just hearing about First Nations and, Berni, I'm excited for what's to come. Now, you're someone who's really open and just loves people and loves to connect. Is there a way that I know that there'll be some people that are really connecting to your message today? How can they reach out to you, Berni?
I'm fundraising at the moment for Walk a While, but just through my Facebook,
Yeah.
I'm really happy for people to find me if they want to do it that way. I'm crazily fundraising. I'm going to be on TV. Surprise, guys.
So how can people get behind your fundraising, Berni?
I'm on Adventure All Stars. Now that's a really strange name for me to be involved in. We're apparently, if I get to my 10K target plus, I'm on 9 and a bit at the moment. On my Facebook, there's a link to Walk a While fundraising, which they can see and find on it. It is publicly available on my Facebook, Berni Morris-Smith. But basically, we're going to go away. I'm in faith. Definitely going to make my target plus. I would like to double it, but it would be great. We're going to go away for 6 days somewhere randomly in Australia and have 6 days of wild adventures. Now, that was a really hard thing for me to want to do. 16 people I don't know. It's actually, we've got to know each other over this year. But yeah, look, I'm really more than happy I'm connecting here on the sunny coast with Sunshine Coast business women and lots of other connections of people too. But I just, yeah, I'm happy to meet, greet, have coffees. I love coffees. I love networking. I love meeting. Any excuse to talk to someone, of course. But yeah, look, do find me on my Facey. I'm very happy about that. On my Instagram, which is Berni_MS. Again, just find me, connect with me, or they can contact you and connect me that way. I do really have a heart for people who are going through it, even if you're going through a challenging time at the moment. I've got a few friends who've got husbands and partners that are not well. And you know what, I'll go in there brave and bold and say, hey, the thing I love most is honesty. I've been broken, I've been there. There's probably not a lot I can't talk about. And it's raw and I'm naked and real about life. But I just see, there's a lovely story. I was up this mountain and this little girl I hadn't seen for 3 years came running up. Her dad she brought her up there that night and not normally spent some time with her. He'd been through a very tough time himself. And then Moranika came running up to me and she ran into my arms and gave me a big hug and gave me this big kiss on my cheek. There's a beautiful picture of it on my posts. And it to me was like a kiss from heaven. And I think if I wrote a book, I'd have that on the front of my page. And I would want to write about ridiculous restoration. So my belief for anyone who's going through tough times is I do believe in restoration of whatever that is in your life that can happen. I'm going through it still. I'll have my bad days still, and I'll have my challenges, and I need my mates around me. And I do have mates around me who hold my arms up at times. I'm not saying that, yeah, this is not over. It's a journey. And I missed him. I just missed our 25th wedding anniversary, literally last week. And I went and celebrated with my boys, and I actually put some roses on the water and acknowledged my 25th wedding anniversary, and bought myself a silver bangle to commemorate something that, because I knew him for 28 years, so we've known each other a long time, and that's a rare thing these days, to be together for that time. And yeah, just wanted to honor that. And I know to say restoration is something, I believe it in seeing it in friendships and honoring and respecting others. And I think we don't do that enough. And I'd be really happy to speak to people, pray with them, hang out with them, and talk about stuff that we
Take
don't.
them on adventures.
And adventures to places that I haven't been to too would be great. I love kayaking, I love climbing, I love walking. I'm doing a half marathon in August, but I don't run. So that's the I don't run very well. And I'm doing that out of my comfort zone to raise money for Walk a While. So that's also something I'm doing. Again, it's not about me. It's about taking ourselves to a place where it's about others, and learning. And I think one of the key things is to learn value and self-worth, particularly for myself, of other women, and to relate that, hopefully that, people can pick up this and relate to it in guys too, and support networks there as well. Because grief is not just death. It's a loss of who we were, or something that we had wanted to dream of. And I had dreams of traveling around Australia and doing adventures with Tim and doing all this different stuff. I bought a caravan in faith that I'm still going to go around Australia, and I'm still going to cruise adventures, but it would be with other people, and I might share it with different people along the way in different places. And I think that's a beautiful blessing, that actually we can look at something and see it in a different way again. There are many ways to look at life, and I just believe we need to look at it and trust God in it, that he will look after us, he will protect us. And I'll get another eagle that'll come and look at me in the eyes and go, yep, she's on her right. It's quite worrying, isn't it? But no, I just happy to talk to people, Lisa.
Thank you.
Just thank you for you and the beautiful things that you did on that retreat part and just facilitated. It was an amazing time, and I've connected with the women on that retreat, and it was one of them that actually led me to an incredible restoration, literally, like happened 2 weeks ago, which I'm so stoked about. It's just beautiful, and it's just healthy, and it's just great, and I'm just very, very blessed and humbled. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Berni, for sharing your story. It definitely does sound like you've got a book there to write.
Adventure with me. Yeah.
Sorry?
She's come on an adventure with me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. So I'll make sure that I've got your contact details in our footnotes so that people know how to find you, and also details on the fundraiser as well, so people can get behind that.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for your time, just for sharing so honestly as well. It really blessed me just to see and hear your story. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Lisa. Bless you and all you do too.
Thank you. Thanks for joining me on Brave with Lisa. I hope that it has inspired or impacted you in a small or large way. Feel free to comment, to subscribe, and share with some friends. And please join us next week on another conversation we will have here on this channel on Brave with Lisa.